We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whiles any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's Day!
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Hey, I'm Mark Walker, avid pickleball player, and this is No Enemies Here.
Mo and I were messaging this morning, and we were talking about the passing of Chad Jensen. I had never met Chad Jensen. I don't know Chad Jensen, but I know him through his games, so I can do a little rough judging on what type of character this guy was, and I'm assuming he was a happy-go-lucky person, because Combat Commander, I mean, you want to get more happy-go-lucky than that game? Because if you don't have the move card, hey, you ain't moving. You better be happy or lucky. Anyways. And Chad Jensen was, my God, he was a young man. He was younger than I am. And Mo said something that really struck me, and it really made me appreciate this hobby that I'm in. He said that this hobby, this wargame hobby, is so small that when something like this happens, you actually feel it. And I thought, man, that's perfect. That's exactly how I felt. So, I mean, on behalf of myself, obviously everybody else, I'll speak for everybody else who knew or didn't know Chad Jensen and appreciated his games. My deepest condolences. And that's it. HEXES Games and Durchbruch, October 1917. The Austro-German attack at Caporetto. This game allows you to study and recreate the most dramatic battle in the Alps front during World War I, a struggle that, due to the Italian High Command unpreparedness, evolved into one of the worst disasters in the whole Italian military history. And what you got with this game is 2 maps 60 by 85 centimeters, 400 plus counters, 4 player aid cards, and a 20-page rulebook. The scale every day is divided into 2 turns. The first day has 1 more preparatory phase. A hex is about 1,000 meters. The unit counters represent infantry, battalion, regiments, and minor units. The designer is Enrico Acerbi. Complexity is medium. Solitaire suitability is medium-low. HOLLANDSPIELE and Escape from Hades, a game designed by the Dream Team designers, Fred Manzo, and developed by Herman Latman. This game is published by HOLLANDSPIELE. High Flying Dice Games and Victory in Hell, the first battle of the Naktung River, August 5th to 19th, 1950. And what you get with this game is 1 11 by 17-inch map, 80 double-sided counters, 1 player aid, 1 rule book. Game designed by Paul Rohrbaugh and published by High Flying Dice. Marco Wargamer, or I should say Marco Omnigamer, reviews Tank Duel, a game designed by Mike Bertuccelli, published by GMT. Korchnoi of Bare Bones Wargaming is giving us his review of Uwe Eichert's Storms of Steel 3rd Edition, a game designed by Uwe and published by Academy Games.
Hi there, I'm Jeff McAleer, the Grand Poobah of the GamingGang.com, and El Duce Dan has once again been kind enough to allow me to share what's cooking with the Gaming Gang and the Daily Dope next week. So if you're not familiar with my show, The Daily Dope, it is a live stream Monday through Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time, where I discuss the latest tabletop gaming news of the day. So be sure to catch that on YouTube. Coming up this week, and of course over the weekend as well, I'm going to have some new unboxing and review videos, First of all, I'm going to take a quick look at the 0-turn rules for Twilight Struggle from GMT Games. Love me some Twilight Struggle. Then I'll be unboxing and taking a first look at Stalingrad 42, which is also from GMT Games. Plus, I've got MBT4C-MBG, say that 5 times fast, which is the latest expansion for Main Battle Tank, which is also from GMT Games. So I'll be unboxing and taking a first look at all 3 of these. Plus, I will have a review of Delta Green's Control Group Adventure Supplement, as well as the Dungeons & Dragons Eberron Rising from the Last War sourcebook. This review will be out before it hits stores on the 19th. So there you have it. That's what's cooking over on the GamingGang.com as well as the Daily Dope. So, back to our pal Dan.
Mo of Mo's Game Table has closing comments on Harold Buchanan's San Diego Historical Con.
Hey guys, have one last update for you from the San Diego Historical Games Convention. It is the last night of the convention, and as always is the case with the final night of a con, it's kind of bittersweet. You know, you're happy to be heading home, but at the same time you hate the fact that you're leaving your friends. And this is a great convention. I really enjoy it, and I really look forward to it every year. The thing that is toughest is it goes by so fast. You know, just like every convention we go to, we talk to people all year, we anticipate it, we get here, and it just goes by in a blink of an eye, but we get a lot of things done in there. I have sat with Morgan Guillen-Ratti, I've sat with Volko Runka, and I've sat with Mark Herman. I've got interviews to share with you from those people, and I think you're going to really enjoy them. As always, I have a great time chatting with them. They're just 3 fantastic individuals and great designers. Harold Buchanan probably is going to have to pass on the interview that we had originally scheduled, because prior to the con he was fighting a bug, and you could really hear it tonight. His voice was pretty harsh, and I felt so bad for the poor guy because he worked so hard to get this convention together, and then of course around convention time is when you get sick, you know. But thank you, Harold, for soldiering on. We really appreciate all you do for the hobby, and we really appreciate this convention you put on. It's a great convention, and I really implore anybody that can get to San Diego in November to come out and do so. It is a 3-day convention, a lot of fun, great people, great games. You get to see a lot of designs in progress as well as demos from games with the designers themselves. So if you get a chance, definitely do come out here, because it's worth the time and the effort to come out here. And you know, Harold does a great job with the convention, and he does a great job for our hobby. He's a great ambassador for the hobby with the convention, with his podcast and his designs and everything he does to lift everybody up. And you know, rising tide lifts all ships, and Harold is one of the reasons why we have that rising tide. So again, thank you very much, Harold, for all you do for our hobby. What you do is greatly appreciated by all of us. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to sit with Gene Billingsley if I can get hold of him. I know he's been really busy with Playdeck. You know, they've been here and they're doing a lot of business stuff, so he's been pulled in a lot of directions too. So hopefully I'll be able to get with him. If not, you'll at least have the 3 interviews that we had originally scheduled that I told you about. And hopefully tomorrow I'll be picking up some games from White Dog, from Blue Panther, who's here. There are some White Dog games that I've been interested in. Caribbean Storm, Worldwide Zed, yes, World War Z, I should say. It's a zombie game. It's zombies. I'm kind of obligated to buy zombie games. I like zombie games. It's a guilty, you know, pleasure of mine. So we'll be taking a look inside those games. Maybe even Dog Sector. I may pick that up as well. And we'll be taking a look inside those with some unboxings. And hopefully, as time goes on here, I'll have a little bit more time. I can start doing some gameplays, you know, playthroughs, as well as some more reviews. Scheduling has been tough for me, but and unfortunately, again, due to scheduling, I'm going to be not going to BGG-Con. So that was originally in the plans, but that has since been canceled. So unfortunately, this will be my only convention for the year. But if I only have one convention to get to, I'm glad it is the San Diego Historical Games Convention. I hope you've been enjoying the coverage we've been, you know, sharing on Twitter and getting a look inside what goes on. I really appreciate the support you guys give me on the channel, and I hope you find the content worthwhile. And as always, if you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.
Of bonding with board games. It's taking a look at 1941 Race to Moscow, designed by Waldek Gumieni, published by Phalanx Games. And the guys at Little Wars TV are taking a look at The Men Who Would Be Kings, Colonial Wargaming Rules. This is a book and rule set written by Daniel Mercy, published by Osprey War Games. And the gentlemen from the Player's Aid are reviewing Fortress Europa Designer Signature Edition, a game designed by John Edwards, Richard Hamblin, and Alan R. Moon. I'm still blown away, Alan R. Moon, Ticket to Ride guy. Well, I gotta do my research. Published by Compass Games. Oh my god, the Player's Aid put out another video. How many videos are they gonna put out? Anyways, this unboxing by Alexander is Death Valley, a GMT game, Battles for the Shenandoah. This is the series designer is Richard Berg, and the game designer of Death Valley is Greg Laubach.
A game for gamers, made by gamers, by Flying Pig Games.
Cody of the Discriminating Gamer is taking a look at a 2-hour Civil War game by Martin Wallace called Lincoln. This is a game published by Worthington Publishing. ID Jester takes a look at Panzer Grenadier by Avalanche Press, an introduction to system overview and game concepts, Part 2 and Part 3. And ID Jester also does a first look of the beta build of Lock and Load's tactical computer version of Lock and Load Tactical. On his segment, Mystery Box Opening New War Games to Play, and the mystery box is... well, go check it out. Wayne Hansen is reconning Antietam 1862, a game designed by Grant Wiley, published by Worthington Games. Wayne Hansen also does a Let's Play Kido Butai, Japan's Carrier at Midway. This is a casual playthrough. The game is designed by Benjamin Richter and published by Dr. Conflict Simulationen. That's what I meant to say. Fred of Homo Ludens, History and Board Games, gives us a preview and interview with VPJ Arpinen of his game to be on the P500 GMT, All Bridges Burning. On the Air with Lock and Load Publishing, Season 1, Episode 6 was streamed live with Sean Drulinger's Point Blank and artist Shane Logan. Rob of War and Pieces takes a look at Combat, designed by Ross Mortel and published by Compass Games. After a 3-year absence, Mamie of Fushigi Terebi, or Fushigi TV, is back. The soft-spoken, easygoing, risk-taking with rules and games, Mamie's back. Now, her first video is Pax Pamir, a game designed by Cole Worley, published by Whirly Gig Games. Mamie, or I should say Fushigi TV, plays this solitaire. And don't be mistaken by that soft voice. She's a kick-ass wargamer. Welcome back, Mamie. Ito ni Kyotsukatte. Awakening the Bear, 3rd edition, available now. Storms of Steel, 3rd edition, available now.
Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to Centurion's Review, the punk rock band of Wargame Review, Institutions. The first game we'll be reviewing on our website, actually it's not reviewed by me, it's reviewed by a friend of mine, Len Kroll. It's The War of Jenkins' Ear from Strategy and Tactics number 308. It's about the last conflict, a major conflict in the Caribbean between England and Spain. He really liked the game, so check out the review. I think you'll like it. The first game we'll be doing a first look at on our YouTube channel is Rogers Rangers, America's First Commandos. It's similar to a lot of the other decision games, mini games as far as the mechanics. It uses tactical edge and all that, and it has a point-to-point map. Looks like a really simple way to play a game about the French and Indian War. I look forward to trying it soon. And the last game we'll be doing a first look at on our YouTube channel is the D&D starter set, the Stranger Things edition. It includes 2 Demogorgon figures, which is why I bought it. One's painted, one's unpainted. You're not doing a Stranger Things episode really in it. What you're doing is you're playing the D&D campaign that the little kids were playing in the show. So I think people who are looking for an easy way to get into D&D may like it, but current D&D 5th edition players will find that probably the storyline doesn't have enough to make it worth getting. But however, I just bought it for the Demogorgon figures. But anyhow, check out the video so you see what's included with it. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys soon on our website and on our YouTube channel. Have a good evening.
Counterattack is unboxing Waterloo, Napoleon's Last Battle. This is a game designed by Mark Scarborough and published by Companion Wargames. And the workaholic Jan Heineman of Let's Play History has about 8 videos out. A couple of them are about Fields of Glory, I don't know what numbers, but numbers 68 through probably 100 million. And also a couple of videos out on Battle for Spain, Ebro 1938. Also, Jan has a new video out on a new series called Unity of Command 2. This is a sequel to one of the most critically acclaimed strategy games of all time, published by 2x2 Games. GIMPY of the Gimpy Gamer continues his review through of Conflict of Heroes, Awakening the Bear, a game designed by Uwe Eichert, published by Academy Games. Also, Gimpy shows us a prototype of Ray Farrell and Brad Johnson's game on the P500 at GMT's, The Barracks Emperor. Combat Board Games has a video out. Wargame Eurogame Hybrids. Is it worth your time? He checks out Black Orchestra, game designed by Philippe Dubarry, published by Game Salute. Rough Swordsman Wargamer continues his Utah Springs Battle of the American Revolution by GMT. This is from the Tri-Pack box. Also, Rough Swordsman is unboxing DVG's Castle Eater, a game developed by, well, I should say designed by, David Thompson, published by DVG. And Riccardo Mazzini has 3 videos out on his Vlog 35, Tank Duel, Parts 1, the introduction, 2, on the table, and 3, the conclusion. Tank Duel, Enemy in the Crosshairs is a game designed by Mike Bertuccelli, published by GMT. JK Wargames is reviewing Undaunted Normandy, a game published by Osprey Games, designed by David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin. Mauro FAINA continues his interview of the non-wargamer at Gioco e Storia 2019 convention. BLASTPOP examines Kaisan 68, a game designed by Joseph Miranda, published by Decision Games. The Wargamer is continuing his magnum opus on the Atlantic Wall, and this time he talks about Airborne module, the Paradrops. Also continues his magnum opus number 2, Hurtgen, Hell's Forest, Scenario 1, the 6th of November 1944, the morning game turn. Napoleon's Triumph hasn't been here in a month, and today, 3 videos, one being What's on the Table for November 2019, one a solo session report of Paths of Glory, a game designed by Ted Racer, published by GMT, and also published by GMT, but designed by Mark Herman, Peloponnesian War Campaign Setup. You know, I have another life. on the dice tower. That's another life. And I have to present stuff in a different way, in a more entertaining way. Obviously, I've said this before. And sometimes I surprise myself at the ridiculousness I can reach, you know? And anyways, I mean, I'll obviously continue to do so. I'm getting good people seem to like what I do. And also, I've been invited by Tom Vassell in 2 weeks to go to Miami for his 24 hours marathon. I don't know how I'm going to survive 24-hour marathon. I like Euro games. That's not the point. It's just 24 hours. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do. So at one point, I was doing a skit, and so Tom Vassell announces me to the Dice Tower people that Dan Pancaldi will, from No Enemies Here, will be coming down, and the surprise and all that. And then Tom says, well, I can't invite all 3 people because I have 2 alter egos. I can't invite all 3 people. Paul will have to stay home. So obviously, in fun and in continuation, I rebutted. And this is it. Man, I'm so happy to go to that con, 24-hour thingy, you know, Dice Tower stuff. I can't wait to meet Sam Z, the guy who laughs like a hyena, wears a hat. And I'm gonna bring the runt, but too bad Paul was asked to stay out, but, you know, hey, it is what it is. So, Vassal, what did I ever do to you? Huh? It's what I'm gonna do to you if you don't let Paul in! Let Paul in! Let Paul in! Shut up! Tom, I just watched Board Game Breakfast, you know, last week. Let's reconsider this. You know, Tom, huh? What did I do? You know, stuff like that gets me angry that you don't want to get me in. And, you know, when I get angry, I lose it. You know what I'm saying? And furthermore, just like you, I watch this from the outside. Like, that's not me. That's a character. So I laugh the same way you laugh. Or I get taken aback the same way you get taken aback. I don't get it. Like, that's not me. But it is. But it ain't. But it is. But it's not.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today I am joined here at San Diego Historical Games Convention with Morgan Guillen-Ratti, who is the designer of Hubris, which is an upcoming game, and Pendragon, which you know a lot more than you do Hubris. But we're going to talk about both games today. Morgan, thanks a lot for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And let's talk about, well, first we'll talk about Hubris because that's the next game in the docket, and then we'll circle back and we'll talk a little bit about Pendragon. So Hubris, tell everybody what that game is about.
Right, so Hubris is actually a project of mine which started more than 6.5 years ago in 2013, before Pendragon. And then it has gone through a number of iterations, and obviously there's a before Pendragon and an after Pendragon in Hubris. Basically, the game is also about what I call a hinge period of history, which is a time when we change paradigm. So it's the back end of the Hellenistic kingdoms, which are the successor kingdoms to Alexander the Great. And so we start with these kingdoms, the Ptolemies, the Seleucids, Macedon, very strongly and you know, really fighting against each other for supremacy in the Eastern Med. And at the end of the period, historically at least, Rome was dominant and had crushed 2 of these kingdoms and basically vassalized the third. So it's this complete shift just like you have in Pendragon, going from the Roman Empire to these barbarian kingdoms, that you also find in a very different context, in a very different way. But I believe, I really love this period where paradigms shift.
Yeah.
So Hubris is basically you are a kingdom, so you are a dynasty of kings. If you play the full campaign, you're going to play roughly 75 years of history. But there will be a lot of shorter scenarios, obviously, 5 years to a turn. And the game revolves around the leaders. So you are the king at that moment, and with his entourage, his court, family members, ministers, trusted or less trusted friends, etc. And this is the engine of the game. In order to do anything, you need to activate a character, the king or a friend or a general. And they are all rated, a little bit like in RPGs in a way, so they have their numbers, and you test whether they're successful or not. So to an essence, it's a game of managing what resources you have in terms of, okay, who do you have in my court, who can I trust, who is effective at doing what I need at this particular point in time.
So we were talking yesterday, you were showing me about how you've got that line, that big chart that you can, if you don't want to play the campaign game, you can just kind of pull a segment of history out, like 5 years, like you're saying, and you'll have your end win conditions listed out depending on how many years you want to play.
So this is correct. So basically you can play 17 turns at the maximum. And when I designed the game to calibrate it, I basically tracked what I would say is the historical performance of each of the kingdoms in game terms. So translating that into victory points. And so that gave me a baseline which allowed me obviously to calibrate what should be automatic victory conditions and so on. But then I figured I could use that to determine the turn by turn, at the end of each turn, what would be, a winning performance or not, based obviously on history and my assessment of whether they were outperforming or underperforming.
Sure.
So that means that for every given turn, you have a target for each of the kingdoms, so that you could stop at any time. There will be a number of start points with setups, so you could start at probably something like 10 different starting points. And if you want to play 2 turns, or if you want to play 6 turns, it doesn't matter. There will be suggestions, obviously depending on starting point, but you say what, you're running out of time, you have to stop, you go to the end of the turn, you check the values, and you know who has the best victory margin.
Now, everyone wants solitaire in their games. And you're saying that this is a 3-player game.
It's a 3-player game.
But you're talking about actually coming up with a solo system as well.
Yeah.
Now, so what kind of challenges does that introduce for you?
To be honest with you, this is still very, very preliminary. I'm focusing on having the core mechanism in place, which is, I think, the case today. Then working on scenarios, balancing balancing all the specific leaders, because every leader is unique, and it adds a lot of narrative and flavor to the game. I already have some kind of a, not solitaire, but bot, you might say, system, because Rome is not a playable faction.
Okay.
So Rome is managed by other means. I already have drafted some rules if you play with only 2 players, because that's a fairly common occurrence. I have a couple ideas. I like what has been done for Arjuna, for Gandhi.
Yes.
I'm definitely looking to have everything card-driven, because I think it's much more user-friendly than to go through charts and But beyond that, to be honest with you, not much. It's much easier to have Rome being handled by bots, but still you have players who can provide some input. And there's actually not a bidding mechanism, but you can influence Rome so that when the time comes, you are the one making the final decision within the guidelines. But when you have only 1 player, that doesn't work. So that's still in the future of development.
Now, it's a 3-player game. How does it change? How does the dynamics of the games, how do they change in a 2-player game?
So essentially, you got the 2 main powers at the time were the Seleucids, so in Syria and Iraq today, we would say, and the Ptolemies in Egypt. So these would be the 2 players you would keep in a 2-player game. Okay. These 2 players fought just during the span of the game for something like 8 major wars. So they would definitely be the main engine. Macedon is a bit different. They are dealing with the Greeks, they're dealing with Rome before anyone else deals with Rome. So I'm not going to say they are a second-rate power, because they are not. They can still do a lot of things and create a lot of mischief. But it's a bit different. So that would be the first power that would not be played if we go to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's kind of circle back like we were talking about before. Pendragon. Hubris started before Pendragon, but Pendragon was completed, published before Hubris.
Exactly.
Now, what did you learn, now that I know that, what did you learn from your initial design of Hubris that you incorporated in Pendragon? What did you learn from Pendragon that you're incorporating into Hubris?
Well, one of the big things I learned, I think, is that you have to go with your guts. And that's something Volko actually taught me. It's really a matter of, you tend to sort of sometimes self-censor yourself. You know, it's like, I want to do this, but maybe not. And then at some point it came back. And there's at least a couple instances in the development of Pendragon where actually I had something in my notes which I had not used, and then I went back to it in the course of development. So
important to keep your notes, guys.
I mean, I've got always a big notebook, and I keep everything. I keep absolutely everything. So, so with Hubris, I had a first iteration of the game, which was working pretty fine, was very advanced in development, had a lot of playtesting done, and then I put it on the side to do Pendragon. And then I went back to Hubris, and I was like, oh, the game is nearly ready. I mean, it should be fairly quick. And then I went back to my sources, and I went back, and I was like, you know what? I think that the focus is not quite where I would actually want it to. And so obviously a small change become big changes, and I completely tilted the axis of the game. But again, go with your guts. It cost me like 2 years in development, you might say. And it's not entirely true because other things happened in my life, but I like the new game. I mean, I like the old game a lot. I love this one.
Well, there's an evolution there because of, like you said, follow your gut. Volko said, do that. And it's, I can see what you're saying about the self-censoring. You kind of like doubt yourself. Oh, I want to go this way. And now maybe it's not going to work. And then like Volko said, explore it. You never know. You either run into a dead end or you come up with a new development. So
the other aspect that I got from the development of Pendragon, and I, for one, do not think that the coin games are particularly complex games. I mean, they are rich, there's a lot of interactions, but the core rule set is not that complex. No. But still, even though many players are still, there's a lot to absorb and a lot of things to learn, the subtleties and stuff. So I set myself that target with Hubris, that I would keep the basic rule set as simple and intuitive, as straightforward as possible, and then the wealth of interaction and complexity would be in the game itself. I use for that, HOLLANDSPIELE, obviously very different type of game, but what I love about them is that you can just come and punch the piece, and it takes you maybe 30, 45 minutes to read the rules, and you can start playing.
Yeah.
This has real value, and I would like that Hubris could be a bit like that. It wouldn't take too long for someone to, jump in the pool.
Yeah.
To do competent and proficient and master all the subtleties, no, obviously.
Easy to learn, long time to master,
But that's my design goal. So I sort of try to stick to that, and it has to be intuitive. And part of that was actually having some great mechanism that had been developed before, which I thought, but extremely clever, and I was very proud of myself. And then I was like, but it doesn't fit with the general approach of the rest of the game. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do this.
But you can keep it in your notes and use it in another game.
I still have that in my notes, definitely.
That's why it's important to have those notes. So you're out there with your...
But I try to keep... So basically, when you play Hubris, whether you're doing the different kind of action, whether they all follow the same logic.
Sure.
So you activate someone, you check his rating, you tell your successes, and you apply. And it's true for everything in the game. Which hopefully, based on the first feedback from the test, this is the new iteration's first go with, new players, people who have never seen the game before. I think that obviously the first turn I have to sort of guide them a little bit, and then it goes. So it seems like it's not too far from the target.
Well, that's good. Well, and as far as coin, are you looking at maybe possibly revisiting the coin system in the future?
Most definitely, yes.
Really?
I got a couple
of ideas. Same time frame, or?
I've got one ID which is actually set maybe let's say 50, 60 years before the timeline of Hubris.
Okay.
Where I'm looking at the faction in one particular city, Athens, during the time of the kings. So basically you are trying to maintain control or gain control of the city politics in the midst of a wider conflicts of people who have a lot more power than you do.
Yeah.
And so you have to make the right bets and play the right cards at the same time. So I'm aiming to have a very, quick playing coin game centering on city factions politics in that context. And then I got another one in a completely different time period, which is kind of linked to where I live today, which is in Montreal, Quebec. So I'm probably looking at something which would come like before, in a way, before Liberty or Death. Looking at the whole struggle between, the British and the Americans and the French and the Indians, but going all the way back to probably 1700 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But that's still very, very,
it's in the Genesis stage. Yeah. Well, that'd be great. And what is the latest on Hubris as far as moving into production?
Okay, so as I said, there was a major redesign and streamlining which took place over the last year, really. This has come to a point which I like. Right now the game is fun, works fine, and goes at the right pace, because it has to go fast enough to depict the broad tapestry, the grand tapestry of events over a long period, and it seems to be achieving that. So now it's a lot of fine-tuning. Small parameters, individual leaders, individual scenarios set up. I had one scenario which I was hoping to test here, and I was testing it solo before coming, and I was like, okay, no, it's not ready.
Not ready for prime time.
Not ready for prime time yet. But so yeah, I mean, I'm fairly confident with the core mechanisms of the game, which are the most important thing, and which are entirely new, unlike Dragon. So now it's a matter of fine tuning and developing the various scenarios. So we're probably talking of a number of months, I guess, before it goes, but who knows, maybe P500 next year?
Maybe P500 in 2020, that would be fantastic.
Great, yeah.
Well, Morgan, I really appreciate you taking the time here and sitting down and chat with us.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to talk about my games.
Yeah, no, I love it. And, Pendragon is available still from GMT. Yeah. Hubris, hopefully, will be on the P500 in 2020. So if you're interested in either one of those games, go to GMT Games to check them out. Thanks a lot, Morgan. I really appreciate it.
See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Bye.
DVG and Dan Verssen just hit it out of the ballpark. The Kickstarter is Thunderbolt Apache Leader, Fleet Commander Nimitz, and Tiger Leader, plus all their individual expansions. I mean, yeah, I'm in. Use this code, 25% off. What's the matter with you? Yeah. Help us, man. The Mary and Tom Show, where they talk about the weather, how cold it is there, and cataloging videos of NASCAR races. Also, they answer questions. Viewer questions, I should say, hearer questions. And what dinosaur games to build? A dinosaur table battle? Canvas maps list for sale? Larger maps for horse and musket? The Mary and Tom Show. Episode 90. Mauro FAINA in his Giannizzero has episode 29. He talks about France 1940, and also episode 30. This is funny. He calls this this is the Italian word for saying, just shooting a poop. Chiacchiare. Chiacchiare. Eh? Chiacchiare. The San Marino Game Convention 2020, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of May in the Palace Hotel San Marino. Kansas City War Game Festival. It's called Historic Kansas City or Historic KC Fest in Kansas City, Overland Park Convention Center, June 26th to the 28th in the year 2020. Board Game Geek, BGG, Fall 20 to 24th of November 2019 at the Hyatt Regency in Dallas, Texas. Don't forget to watch the Dice Tower live playthrough of the 24-hour marathon or 30-hour marathon. I don't know, Tom's nuts. And I'm going to be there. I don't know how I'm going to survive, but this is the 25th to the 26th November in Miami. I don't know what's going on. See you later. Another week, another show. Yeah, this was a November 11th show. And even though it was on the 16th, you know, I got to do what I got to do. Thank you to my subscribers. And please like the show. Thank you to my supporters and my Patreon patrons. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next week. Ciao.